Good morning to everyone. Today I am Academic Counselor H. Biswas. So today MMPH G04 is block number 4 and the last unit, that is the unit number 15. So the industrial and the employment relations. So today first we have to see what are the contained in the units, and then after that we have to go proceed. So that is the industrial conflict. Now the unit name is industrial conflict. It is a part of block number 4. So first things we have to see the introductions, then the explanation of the industrial conflict, and there are type of conflicts, then the effect of conflicts, then different approaches to the conflict resolutions, and the conflict resolution style, various styles, and then your concept of the definition of the industrial disputes, what are the international labor organizations, ILO, and what are the disputes. Now first some of the classifications and what are the causes of the disputes, then different form of actions, settlement of the industrial dispute in India, and different process changes as per the provisions contained in the Industrial Relations Code 2020. So that is the unit is very big unit. I mean, because a lot of things are there, and it is very relevant to our present scenario. What are the industries are going on? Now, first things you see, it is in any environment, institutions or in the organizations, the conflict can't be avoided. It is due to differences among the industrial ideas, different individuals' ideas, and the different desires also there, and perceptions is also different, needs also different. So in general, the conflict is defined as your antagonists state, uncomfortable conditions of the other oppositions. So antagonist situations will be obviously will be there. Disagreements and other your incompatibility. So between the two or more parties. It is as per the Parekh 2012. He has written in his book, and is a Willnart and the Hackers also 2001. So that is the definition of the things, and conflict definitely the basis are from the environment only. Now we have to go see the differences among the individuals. 2001 industrial conflict include the ideas, goals, and the competitions for the resources can lead to a conflict. So different author explain in different way. So ultimate aim is the resources from the sources of the conflicts. So one of the most influential explanations of the industrial conflict is suggested by work of the Human Relations School, the School of Human Relations. They have said the viewpoint has its origin in the Haradhan experiments and the research of the Eltron Mayo. All through it's undergone considerable revisions and research they have done in time to time. So the central idea of which most of this writing is based in the importance of the informal relationships and good communications and supervisions to the improved employee moral and efficiency at the job satisfactions. So in the last, I think in the last sentence I can say there is a moral and the job satisfaction is very important rather than the packages, salaries. So now the human natures are like this, it always requires some peace. So that is the focus area. Now see the integral number of the school committee. You would have probably faced a lot of things. It's the type of the conflicts. Now we are coming in the type of conflicts. So various levels of the conflicts and their types. So it is categorized in other way. One thing is a conflict within the individuals. Sometimes these things are really the positive or negative. The thought process are coming inside, so making the decisions based on this. Another conflict is sometimes your individuals, between the individuals, means supervisor and the subordinates, or the manager and workers, like this way, man to man, I mean individual to individuals. Another conflict levels, that is between the industrial in the group, in the individual and the group. Another type is conflict between the groups within the organization. There are so many groups, finance department, accounts department, there are so many other section departments are there also. So we can say it is one of the group of the team of the finance teams, or group of finance peoples, and the group of the marketing peoples, and the group of your production peoples. So sometimes there are also a conflict is going on. That is this categories. And organization to organizations, conflict between the organizations also, or maybe the sub-unit of the organizations. Suppose there are different branches in different locations. So there some type of competitions or are going, or misunderstanding, lot of things are there. So that is another way of conflicting can arise. Now, basic type of conflicts are your interpersonal conflict. So this conflict basically occurs when the person himself, it arises, which I have said, that is within a individual, when his motives or the drives are blocked, or when a person faces two different decisions, you don't know which one is the best. So that time of the dilemma, I mean, in the mind is going on. So the conflict starts. This cannot take appropriate decisions as he faces competition objectives, then your roles, different roles. It is actually as per the chart 2010, he has specified the things. The conflict within the individual is usually related to value, where there is no conformity between the role and his value of the beliefs. So there are some that type of conflict normally arise. Now approach conflict, approach to approach conflict. In this case, this conflict arises when there are two or more alternatives with positive consequences. So in this situation, a person has this choice between these alternatives that seem to be equal or attractive. So that is a very tricky conditions. So you don't know which one, but both the things are positive way, good things. So that type, this is a particularly approach to approach conflict types. Then next is your avoidance conflict. Avoidance basically negative sense, because it is a situation in which a person has to select one or two more alternatives with the negative outcomes. The outcomes is negatives, and now you have to take it. So it is the approach avoidance conflict. This conflict that happens in a situation in which an individual should choose something with positive or negative results, or sometimes mix of this. So the person chooses to accept a nice job. Suppose you are getting in an undesired place. Suppose you are getting an appointment, but the posting is in a hill area or some remote areas. So job is good, pay package is good, but your location is different. So this is the type of thing sometimes happen. These all are things. Even jobs, I mean, it can be vice versa also. Good places, but your job is not satisfied. I think money is not good. Place is good, so it can be vice versa. That case also, it is some sort of you can join the company or not join the company. So this case is the avoidance conflict going on in the mind. Sometimes it may say, okay, let it join, no problems, I can manage it. But one other way you can thinking, lot of hardship will be there. Maybe I have to lose a lot of relationships. Family will be away from me. So that these are basically your avoidance conflict type. Now, interpersonal conflict. So it is probably the most recognized and the popular conflict which arises between the two or more individuals. Most of the cases we are arising these things. So, this is the most associated in the conflict, we can say, in organizations, and it can happen because of the differences that occur between two people, because between the two peoples. This conflict may happen between two managers to compare for a limited manpower, and capital resources may be not sufficient, and they compete for the same promotions. Maybe sometimes they are more in the due for the promotions, and maybe they are equally excellent, equally good. So, that time some interpersonal conflict may arise. Now, moreover, this conflict may take place between the managers and the bosses. It may be happen like this, supervisors and the workers, or between the worker and the worker, in any levels, etc. The causes that lead to the conflict are personality differences, because the personality differences are there. The style of leadership style is also different. Perceptions are different. Classes of the value and the interest also sometimes. Then power and the status differences, lack of information, role in the your compatibility, stress, and your scarce resources. Some sort of scarcity of the resources also may be the problem of these things. Intergroup conflict. It happens when a person in a group works to achieve a different goal. The goal is different. Then the other group in the organizations, because the one finest groups may be, they are in a different objectives. They have to how to quiz the amount, control the budgetary things, need not to go for extra expenditures. They are always, that is their objectives and focus on these things. But in the other way, the marketing and the production group, they flourish, they have to execute a lot of things, they have to explore some of the extra money may required for these things. So, sometimes the things are conflict, they are not allowing, finance is not sanctioning the money, even though it is required for the customer relation purposes or something, advertisement cost is a little high or something. So, that time it is some sort of intergroup conflicts. So, it is normal that all the groups, both formal and informal, tend to establish the particular operational standards and behavioral principles which are adhered by the by all members of the groups. A member may have a social needs that obliged him to stay within the group, but simultaneously he may not agree with this group's goals. Suppose the goal is not, he is not agreeing what the other people are things. Sometimes it has happened in the picnic, sometimes the place or location, maybe the place, lot of conflicts is there. Even the menu, what type of food, breakfast, lunch, dinner, what type of things, what type of games should be there to involve the children and other. There are a lot of conflict will be there. With different purpose and different goal are to be achieved. It is a human nature. So, such conflicts may also happen between the leaders and with the followers. Sometimes the leader is saying something, but followers are not obeying those things. They have a different idea. So, even between the managers also sometimes, and groups, and another is even subordinates also. So, intergroup conflict may also happen if there are the disagreements among the members of the same groups. Again, it is as per the Chand 2015, he has written. Now, intergroup conflict, the conflicts arise between the different groups in an organizations, each seeking to accomplish their objective. As I said, everybody, all the groups are feeling, no, my objective should be fulfilled. And that is things we can, their objectives different, are called the intergroup conflicts. Organizations are composed of the interlocking networks of the sections, different sections are there, they are interlocking. I mean, they are integrated way, they are doing the works. So, work teams are there, different departments are there, individuals, so different group also there. So, individual tend to, everybody tend to various groups when they are in a demand for the industrial conflict. So, therefore, the intergroup conflict may not be too much your naturally the personal. So, the harmony among all the interdependent groups is considered as an essential factor for the organizations for the success as a whole. So, somebody has to monitor, the management has to look after the group integrity and group ethics or other things, your cooperations should be maintained. Otherwise, the conflict may arise and it will hamper in the objectives also. Intra-organizational conflict. There is a 4 types basically, including the vertical conflict, horizontal conflict, line staff conflict, and your role conflict. So, it is categorized in a 4 way. They have distinct features, however, they can overlap, particularly with the role. So, which while the horizontal conflicts have among the departments or the staffs with the similar organizational hierarchical levels. So, when similar hierarchical levels, you can say it is a your horizontal conflicts. In addition, the line staff conflicts as a line departments are assist the staff departments basically in most organizations. The relationship between the line and the staff departments often creates conflicts, the role conflicts. Now, coming to role conflict. Role conflict is basically your roles are set of the actions that are expected to be performed by the individuals in their position. What are the set goals are given? They have to perform these things as per the schedule, as per the time frame, everything. But if it is not there, he is not maintaining the roles in that speed or that dignity, maybe the class will be there. Then your psychological responses. Psychological responses, in this case, your absenteeismness, I mean absent-mindedness to other things, because he has not think on other things also. There is a lack of interest sometimes, maybe the lack of your job satisfaction is not there. So, there are so many reasons that is the responses of the psychological part, we can say. So, that is why first one of the things you are absent-minded, I mean always not created that type of energy has not built up, not showing zeal of these things. Then your job satisfactions, I mean maybe lack of things. Work distresses, because it may be overload, or maybe the not desired load is not there. Maybe unwanted jobs are there, or not utilizing his optimal capacity, underutilization. So, because of that, sometimes the distress are coming in mind. So, that's why the alterations from the others and disappointments. Sometimes people are resigning because of that sometimes. So, and another bar is your behavioral responses. Wasting of time, employees have the organizations, then your sabotage, health costs, this is all are a part of your conflict situations. An individual may tend to achieve and promote his self-interest or your personal gain, the cost of the organizations or the others. So, this is the type of your behavioral responses, and taking bad decisions, and that your tending to unnecessary restructurings, a lack of job motivations or the low motivations. These are all the different type of responses are also a part of your conflict management, we can say. So, then your introduction of changes. Now all these things are the, you can see the pitfalls or problems we are talking about. Now we have to slowly see resolutions, I mean the how to resolve the things, all these things. So introduction of the changes means the change can breed intergroup conflict, acquisitions and mergers. For example, you encourage the intergroup conflicts, competitions and the stress. So these all are the sub ignitions, some of the ignitions are there for changes. It may be happen, in that case you can reduce some of the conflicts. Then the nature of communication is also a very vital part. So one of the major your fallacies you're amending about the conflict is a poor communications in the case of your, in the cause of your conflicts. If you are not properly deliver what you really want to your supervisor, to workers, when you are discussing something, you are not conveying properly. So because of the misunderstanding or miscommunications, so conflict may starts, and that is the one of the main things. Then aggressive nature of people, that is also one of the reasons when I mean changes. That is another factor that has your immense potential for generating the conflict within the organizations is personality characteristics that amount of the individual differences. Conflict between the groups within the organizations, conflict between the organizations, so within the groups, and as we have known. So this is our particularly your aggressive nature of people because of that conflicts. Now approaches to the conflict resolutions. Now we are actually see the coming to the resolution parts. The resolving or the managing a dispute by the sharing each side is needed, because then only we can have a set of some of the conclusions. So adequately addressing their interests so that they are satisfied with the outcome. Then the choice of the method depends on the nature of the conflict and your disputants, their attitudes basically. So let us look at the conflict resolution method. Now we have to go for the different method for how to resolve this. So conflict resolutions, these things, the negotiation and the bargaining, that is one of the points. Here the parties are involved in a process of the discussions with which seeks to bring about a voluntary your agreement. So some agreement should be there. Okay, we have to maintain these things. Basically, you have to principally agree some of the policies or rules, disciplinary things. You have to maintain it so that there will be some peace should be maintained, and seamlessly you can work. Correction is another thing. See, in this method, the your conflict resolutions, so parties involved to conflict are forced to agree to a particular conclusions. Physical force, that is threat, sometimes the physical force can also sometimes used for the solve of the conflict, at least temporarily, because you see forcibly if you do something, maybe temporarily once or two, second times, maybe one or two times you can do it by the threats or something, but in long run you cannot do it. So in the corrections process, temporarily okay, sometimes maybe you can do it, but in the long term different way you have to adopt it. I think this maybe not real. So different way you have to see the corrections, situation based. Now mediations. So it uses a third party, because third party to help the conflicting parties come to a mutual in a mutually satisfying the agreements. Some of the mutually you have to do it, and that mediator is assisted to negotiation. Basically we can say the negotiation officers or negotiators. So voluntary or both the sides, and the private or the confidential matters will be there. They can sit together and discuss on behalf of one group. Suppose group A and group B, some resolution is there. So group A in mediator, I mean your negotiators, and B2 negotiators, both are sitting together. What are the points can be discussed there individually? Then after that they can call both the groups, sit together, and they can by the debate and argument, bargaining through, they can take some of the conclusions. Then educations. It invests the power of the state, and then some of the legal systems are there to provide and your authoritative conclusions. Typically, and your expensive and the lengthy way to end up the discourse, your educations is often used along with the correction of the negotiation. In this case, it is a long process because some of the judicial systems are there. So law is enforcement is also there. So that's why it is also sometimes required for the final conclusions, so that again that conflict should not be arise. So that's why, but it is a long process of things. Now arbitrations. It is involved and your impartial third party to decide through the prior mutual consents, because arbitrations case mostly suppose you have a tender or some of the order, you are not executed, you are not completed the up to the things before that. So you are violating some of the rules and regulations as per the terms of the contract. That case it may be go for the arbitration cases. Company can give some appeal to the labor court or something for against the supplier or against the vendors, against the thing. So that case it is disputed, and some your third party involvement is required. They have to see as per the law, as per the contractual terms and conditions, which is the best decisions they have to do. So whether the two or more people come together or work together, so there will be a possibility of the disagreement among them. So disagreements can be an opportunity or growth of the learning, or they can become a damaging to the parties. So sometimes the conflict when they arises something, it may be from the positive outputs. Outcomes will be maybe positive, but sometimes it may be negative also, or damaging the things also. So hence, to deal with the conflicts, consistent ability and the skills are required. So as a negotiators or as a arbitrators or something, they have to be skilled enough. We are going in the right path or not. Justice is also very important part, and some things should not be biased things like this. Avoidance. So one way of the managed conflict is avoidance. Avoidance style can best be described as a non-confrontation styles. Your accommodating, that is, a person is using the accommodating the style when his or her behavior is aggressively agreeable and non-assertive. Then your win or loss styles, that is your, it is also known as the classic conflict, during which a person is confrontational, aggressive, and must win at all costs. He or she totally disregards the needs of the other persons. So this is a type of your styles, different styles you can see. Now problem solving styles, it is also known as your collaborations, and it is used when the both partners have a high degree of respect to each others and consider the needs of the others. There is a problem solving style, that I think that is the good styles we can say. You have to respect each others and come to the point which are really benefits for the both or acceptable. Compromising styles, So, a person is using the compromising styles when he or she both assertive and cooperative. In the process, the person gives up something and other is also gain something. So, give and take policies something else and will be partially satisfied. If the compromising styles is not 100% proven, I mean not satisfied, but somehow he has agreed, okay, some he maybe lose out some of the points, he may be gain some of the points. So, looking future relationships, maybe may continue the relationship, sometimes it is a compromising the things. So, that is also one of the resolutions styles. Classification of the industrial disputes. Now, we are see the what are the disputes are there. As per the ILO defines lot of things. It is your consolidations of the industrial disputes. You have to reconcile the things. What are the disputes are these? First Indian editions, that is 1980, that dispute act as approved, and refer to main types of the disputes, that is your relating to terms of the employment. There is one first things A, that is a right of grievance interest disputes. You can say the right or grievance interest disputes. So, there are these are called your conflicts of the interests, or you can say the economic disputes, or you can say the collective labor disputes. There are so many ways you can rename or name like this. So, these disputes arrive out of deadlocks in the negotiations for a collective agreement. Then next your disputes. What is the dispute? Basically, the disputes are also known as the conflicts of rights or the legal disputes. So, these disputes arise from day-to-day workers' grievances or complaints. In addition, there are two other types of disputes relating to organizational rights, namely one is your disputes over the unfair labor rules, practices, and these type of disputes are also known as your trade union victimizations, because as we very much aware of all these things. And then your recognition disputes, because you are not recognize the things even though they are doing good jobs, recognition problems. Sometimes managers are not recognizing the particular one of the party, union parties or something. So, this type of dispute arises when the management of the undertaking or an employees organizations refuses to recognize a trade union for purpose of their collective bargaining. So, that is a this type of dispute is your recognition disputes. Here actually we are just try to classifying the different type of disputes. Now, there are four reasons, and conflict is your basically inherent, as I already said, that is inherent things, it is inevitable, you cannot avoid the things. The situation for at least we can reasons, we can identify the reasons and this and suggest for something. So, that is the Clark he has given some of these suggestions. He has suggested the desire of the parties are more or less your unlimited, while the means of the satisfactions are limited. So, there is an your eternal oppositions of interest between the employers and the workers, which may be made your bearable, but can never be eliminated in a complex industrial society. Now, industrial societies are dynamic, situation keep on changing due to various factors. One of the things your if the management and the labor are to retain their institutional identities, so they are to agree, they are to disagree and must act on disagreements. So, there are different way the different causes are explaining. Then in general, the sources which give rise to industrial disputes can broadly divided into. Now we have to talking about the industrial disputes, the different way and the divisions. Internal causes, which concern only the employer and employee, which an industry or a firm. Then your external causes, which your emanate from the outside of the industry and which concerns all the industrials in the country. Now, internal causes. Now, internal causes, as per the way, that is the wages. One of the your internal cause may be the wages, salary, pay package. Another is your working conditions. If it is good, then no problem. It is not good, this is also causes. The conflict may arise. Fear of the insecurity, always a fear of job cut or something, maybe my services may not be required in this company in futures because of AI or something. So, that type of fear. So, fear of insecurity is also one of the internal causes. Then your personal sources, then your psychological sources, then your sociological sources also. So, these are all are the causes are for the internal side. Now, see the external causes. What are the external causes? These are political causes, important political factors which give rise to the your labor unrest, because sometimes because of that they are very much distressed, maybe the work is not as per, can do as per their wish. So, some of the things are there. Then your arrest of any popular political leaders, then your overthrow of your present political order, then voice in the management of firms and the share in the projects. These all are the external causes are lying there. Now, the following factors are your cumulated into the disputes. What are the things? Is a demand for higher wages, because most of the cases the industrial disputes we are came across or something, that is your higher wages matters in the banking sector earlier. Now, it has almost not there, because if you go back to the 15-20 years before, lot of bank wages part were by the trade union, they have to raise their problems, all of these things. Now, another issue is the bonus, that is one of the your dispute sometimes. Then retrenchment and the layoff, apart from this, maybe that is one of the big issues nowadays. And there are other causes which are important factors for the causing of the industrial disputes. So, this is the things are to be looked after by the management, how to resolve and how fast you can redress all these issues. Then only the company can be survive, they can be retained in the market, more competitive in the worldwide. Then your medical facilities, this is also one of the dispute areas. Leave travel allowances, then your inappropriate treatment by the supervisors, sometimes basically the relationship is not good. Then your recognitions of the trade unions. Leave an hour of the work, except you strictly have to maintain the 8 hours or in between some of the lunch break or something. So, if it is violated or overloaded, part-time job, extra work, it may be created some of the dispute. Since the industrial society is dynamic, because you see the cannot stable the things. Maybe temporarily you feel now stable, but you don't know after 2 months it may be because maybe some external problems, or it may be internal problem also. So, always is a dynamic natures. So, every time you have to fine tuning it, adjust it by some way, another way. So, the subject matters of the dispute may change in the change environments. So, now suppose some of the union demands today as per the present scenario, some demands is theirs. But the same thing, same demands, maybe after 6 months or maybe after 1 year, it may be changed, it may be modified. Why? Because of the environment, inflations or because initially they declare some of the 8% or 10% bonus will be sufficient, but management has not agreed, and it is prolonged, for the discussion is prolonged, and then after 1 year or after 6 months or something, maybe they can demand more, because that time or 6 months before they have decided something, which one is a 10% sufficient. Not present scenario, it should be at least 15% maybe because of the. So, this type of things, the change in environment is also one of the factors for changing the dispute. Then your form of the industrial actions, what type of action? Now we have to come in the action part. Conflicts are endemic to industrial society, notwithstanding your the advantages of the labor, the advantage of the labor management and the cooperations, the interest of the labor and your management usually seem to be opposed. So, it has, by the virtue of the phenomena, it has come opposed. But conflict may either be sustained and organized, or your sporadic and unorganized maybe. So, they result in industrial actions, both of the part of the labor and the managements. So, that is one of the things I have to. Now, some of the common forms of the industrial actions, that is absenteeisms, that is one of the common forms, work to rules, then your go slow, then picketing, grau, then your ban, strike, lockout something, then demotions because of that, layoff, retrenchments, terminations, and your lockout. So, these all are the basic some of the common form of industrial actions, and that is why we have to be careful about it. This is the area, you can say it is all are the pitfall areas where management has to take care. Basically, the HRM department, they have to careful about these things. If they redress or there is no ignition, the chances are less. Everybody are motivated, people are getting the wages, so absenteeism will be less, definitely. There is no conflict. Work to rule, everybody are maintained, the rule is also good, policy is good, so there are no problems. So, these all are the area for the your different form. Now, the settlement of the industrial dispute in India, what the way the process is, statutory settlement machinery is there, some mechanism there. There is the Industrial Dispute Act as per the 1947. So, was created for the you promote the your industrial peace, basically industrial peace, by providing the appropriate machinery for your amicable settlement of the disputes among between the employers and the employees. So, that body, that is one of the bodies there, statutory body is there, they have to look after all these things as per their norms, things they have to do all these things. And the promotion of the measures to secure the cordial relations, idea is this, between the labor and the management. Another objectives we can say, that is your investigations and the settlement of the industrial disputes, they have to settle down, and for which the machinery is provided. Then your prevention of the illegal your strikes and the lockouts, they should not go for the as they want this way. So that time also it is involvement is there. And then provision of the your mislead in the matters and the layoff and the your retrenchment etc. management also cannot do as per their things. So there some of the your again the Industrial Dispute Act as per the India, they have to clarify, they have to answer it, and they cannot do as per their wish. So government is also involved in this case. The government which appears for the peaceful industrial scenario has then to intervene, and it has formulated a statutory your machinery for the resolutions of the Dispute Act under the Act of 1947. Apart from the statutory, there are non-statutory approaches for resolving the industrial dispute also. Recently, in the year 2020, the government has come up with the various labor codes and the industrial relations code 2020 has made the certain changes in the existing your industrial act, that is in 1947. What are the theories, or we can say it is some of the amended is there. Though these codes have been your adopted and even the your presidential asserts has been obtained, and they are yet to be implemented till the date your 28 to 2020. So now it is almost given. Then see the different type of question. Now so far we have discussed first things, what are the causes, why the conflict, what is the definition of these different type of approaches we have seen, and then finally the conflict was the basic idea that the interpersonal relations, internal conflict, why the internal conflict are arising, and then your some of the external parties also there, and there are different way of seeing your approaches also, because it is suppose there are two type of things you are getting, both the things are in positives, but somehow we have to choose which one is the best things. So these are individual conflicts like this. Sometimes they are individual to individuals, between the individuals. This is the conflict, some of the competitions, or maybe that both are due for the promotions. So one person has to be promoted. So that type things are conflict between the individuals. Group to group conflict is also there, because some of the departments, for example the production department, they have targeted this much productions, this much units are to be finalized, I mean per month, per day they have to finish. But the your inventory controls and other things, the raw materials are purchasing departments, they are not delay, or maybe that raw materials are not there, or maybe they have to order, but the supplier is not delivering in the right times. So what will happen? The purchase departments and the production department will be start conflicting. They are chasing for the productions, and purchasing department, they are not giving the inputs of the raw materials to the production department. Shortage of the raw materials or components, maybe that component is not coming, the parts are from the other countries or something. Some of the components are maybe indigenous, and some of the components maybe you have to hire from, you have to brought some of the other countries also, maybe the China or something. Then only the particularly the assembly can be complete. So you have to wait for so that time there some of the conflict will start, blaming to each others, and that type of dispute ultimately the management has to come up, and they have to, both the managers, production managers and the purchasing managers can sit together, what to do, how to, so that resolution is also coming. So pointed out to conflict, sometimes it is a we cannot say it is a disadvantage, no. Sometimes it can be highlighted if some conflict is going on. So it means it is highlighted, the problems are highlighted, and that is a good. as soon as early as the problem will be arised, the management take some decisions. That is number one. Number two, and that is a experience. So, and the next times it should not be happen. Then only we can reduce the complaints. So, first things, as the conflict arise, then immediately have to, through these better communications, have to do it. Different approaches as we have discussed. So, which are the fit for these things that you have to see it. Then this is one thing. Another way, group to group. There are both the groups have a different objectives are theirs. So, if that group interest or group goals are not meeting, definitely they have to start hue and cry, or maybe they have to blame to the corresponding department, concerned department, they are not getting these things. So, it is usually in all the organizations it is happening, sometimes branch to branch. Headquarters is somewhere, corporate center, and different branch, their revenue they are generating, and other units they are not getting that type of facilities or supporting from the headquarters. Maybe the revenue is less. Sometimes that branch can give a grievances to the management, top management. We are not getting that type of support systems. Our manpower is not theirs. Workload is more. So everywhere you see the group to group, department to department, branch to branch, conflict is always there. So that's why this it is very important units, because presently the scenario, most of the companies are facing their internal problems. External problems is always there, because that is unavoidable, it is not in your control, but at least internal problems, if you solve as early as possible with a very unique way, problem solving styles through this way, then you can, some extent, you can reduce the conflict levels. But external part, it may or may not be, cannot be. So changes are there. That's why you have to take some changes, mechanisms. So when things are coming, you have to prepare for that, to cope up the things, so that type of changes can help to reduce the conflict natures. So that is the main idea of these things. Now I am just giving some of the typical questions as per your different exam process. So what are the questions like this? Your conflict. Suppose the question, what do you mean by the industrial conflict? Then you have to derive all these things. First, what the definition of the conflict, then your again the individual conflict, then your between the individuals, between the groups, so that things you have to explain. Anything. If it is again, it is depends on the marks. If it is a 5 marks, then you can at least write some of the, you can highlight some of the things, 1 page. If it is a 10 marks, then you have to briefly, you have to go for detailing some of the things. You can expand some of the things with examples. Then your various type of conflicts. That is the questions are like this. The questions can be clubbed also. Suppose question number 1 and question number 2 clubbed, and make a one question. It can be, because explain the industrial conflict and explain, and you also various type of conflict. That is also they can question the clubbings. So it is now part by part different things. So then you outline the various form of the industrial actions. So as we have seen different forms. So the avoidances, the extremisms, and why this type of, as I already showed some of the slides earlier. So based on this, you have to different form of the industry's actions. You have to elaborate. Maybe there are 4 or 5 different forms are there. So question will be like this. Basically, conceptual questions are there. If you go through the particular units or something, and definitely you will be able to answer this type of questions. Then your what is the industrial dispute? Different disputes are there. So answer will be getting from this unit, obviously. So that should be first things, you have to note down all the points. What are the points? Then you can elaborate the things as per your young language. You can elaborate this, and if possible, you can give us some of the examples. Then that is the way your answering skill will be enhanced. So, do not go for the memorize all these things. Concept is very much important, and steps. Now, another questions, that is your indicate the various type of disputes. So, different various type of disputes you have to explain. Then your question number 6 is your what is the statutory provisions for settlement of the industrial disputes under the Industrial Act 1947. As I already explained, the different type of industrial disputes are there. What are the statutory instruction are there, provision, they are different law. Here actually I can highlight some of the things, emphasize. ILO, as for industrial labor organization, is also given some of the list of the dispute acts and things that also to be aligned with these things. Here actually it is as per our Indian Industrial Act as per these things. But now because of the multinational companies, some of the foreign companies are coming in our India and they have to establish their we are collaborating these things. So what are the Industrial Act, Disputed Act, whatever the things? Obviously the Indian Dispute Act will be there. At the same time, we have to follow, we have to align with the International Dispute Act, what are the defined in the ILO. So that also you have to see it, and at the time of answering you have to mention all these things. Now another question is question number 7, that is the mention the your non-statutory your methods. Different methods you have to explain it for the settlement of the industrial disputes. Then question number 8, that is your proposed changes have been made in the ID Act, Industrial Act. What are the proposed act are, that is also for the that you have to write it in these things. That is a relation, basically as I said that lot of codification at that code is there. The code 2020 you have to mention some of the points, and what are the benefits for this, that also you have to explain in the exam and in the time of answering the things. Then your I think now almost I have covered all the answers. So I think I hope that this is the last unit. I have covered up. We have to explain what are the conflicts, why the conflicts are resources. Then your how to resolve the conflicts, and then identify the things as per our Industrial Dispute Act. What are the acts are there, and how to resolve these things. So I think I hope it is now cover up all the blocks, and we are just looking forward for the next sessions. That is your review. I will review all the blocks, block 1, block 2, block 3 and block 4. That in the next session I will try to review of all these things, touching some of the important points, and with some case studies or something, let's see, so that you can have your concept will be more clear about this. So all the blocks combining in a comprehensive way, I will try to deliver one of the lectures in the session, the next sessions. So okay, I think now we can close the session now. Thank you very much.